So most of you do not get a band 9 in your listening module, and it is very easy. Your overall score can increase and you can reach your dream destination. And of course, there are some things or tips that you do and you get that 9 band. And let me tell you, this is the most underrated and misunderstood IELTS module. That is the listening module. And what I'm going to cover in this is that how to do those tricky MCQ questions in part 3. I'll tell you here. Only then you will get a 9 band. And then what to do when in part 4 the speed of the video goes up. A tip for that, tricks for that. And then I'm going to reveal and expose a secret as an examiner, what you always commit in every single test of your listening module. And those who do not know me, I am Mrs. Anita Kundra, an ex-IELTS examiner and an Cambridge University examiner. So the material given here, the guidance given here is genuine and will surely get your band 9, but you have to follow them. So on my website www.englishwithanitakundrag.com, you can go and buy the material also. For any personal assistance, for coaching, evaluation, I am available at your service. Now let's dive into the listening module. The listening module is the first part of your IELTS text, and it is not a coincidence. Let me tell you, even the babies, when they learn the language, they do it with listening. Yeah? So even you learned your mother tongue by listening. So listening first, then it is your reading, writing and speaking. So that is the pattern, and therefore they have kept it like that. There are 4 parts, and in each part there are going to be 10 questions, and this is the basic you all should know. And now let's go to the techniques that you need for this test. Now let's talk about the part 1. Now it is going to be a social dialogue. You should be clear in your mind, and usually it's a conversation between 2 people. Okay, so what you should be then, now what topic they will talk about? They could talk about booking a hotel, then asking for some details, that is filling a form, and inquiring about some item, something that they want. So it is everyday conversation. So you should be careful about the numbers, names, alphabets, all that. Now whether it is your paper based or your computer delivered, it requires just one word and or a number. What most of the students miss is that when the audio says you now have some time to, at the end of the questions or the task, they say you have now some time to look at questions 1 to 5. So you immediately need to just read those questions carefully, and especially what comes before and after the blanks, because they are going to be blanks. Okay, let me read out an example. I will have to read out. So if the question is saying course starts in the dash month, so you just don't have to listen to the word start. Okay, so that start is there, but that doesn't mean that start is going to be there in the audio also. So what the speaker could say, the classes will begin mid-September, just after the orientation week. You got that? The paraphrasing is the key. They will not copy the words directly, and you're not, that is what is I'm telling you, you're not going to hear the exact same words. So watch out for that, and watch out for the synonyms. So here the synonym was that begin, mid-September. Yeah, that's a hyphen there, and it is one word. And now another crucial strategy I would say is signposting. Now what is that? I'll tell you. So signposting of a word, suppose there's a word Sydney, that is written on the question sheet, and you note down that Sydney is there. And now in the question or in the audio, they will say, after the Sydney workshop, we'll head to Brisbane. So that's your clue, that part of the audio where that Sydney comes. So track the audio very carefully, visually on your sheet. Just underline that Sydney, that when that comes, I have to be sure. Now, what the students do wrong in every test? So they jump from question 1 to 2 too quickly. So one is done too quickly, and now what comes into the between the questions, they don't listen, and there is where the answer is. So that is a deadly mistake. You have to be with the audio, track with the audio. So what is the golden rule, which 90% of you do this mistake? Don't do it. So what is the golden rule? If you miss an answer, please note down, if you miss an answer, don't panic. You just leave it and move on. So why I'm saying that? If you're trying to recall what was the answer, then what is going to happen? You're going to miss the next few answers, and therefore if you missed 4 or 5 of them, you get a low band. Don't do that. It's better you miss one, then after some time, that is at the end of the test, not some time, you can just guess it. Don't leave any of the questions unanswered. Just make a wild guess. There's no negative marking, isn't it? Okay, now let's come to the part 2 of the test. Now part 2 becomes very tricky. It is a social context where only one speaker will speak. And what is the social context? It could be a trip, she could be telling you about an event or a college presentation, about the community where you have to park your car and all that. And I call it the 3 M's. And what are the 3 M's? The type of questions. That is the multiple choice, matching, and the maps. Now, let me give you example of the map, which is really very tough. How to deal with. In map questions, you should know where to start. So, if the map says you are here at the south gate, so be careful. And then it says you turn to the left, pass the museum, and dash dash is towards the corner. So just try to visualize and where to start. So what are the important directions? The critical directions are like the northwest, or beside the cafeteria, at the corner, or there is a tea point, or there is a park besides, you walk past, just opposite. All these things are very important. The directional language. And of course, if you are going for the matching, suppose the speaker is describing some different community programs, like you will hear what phrases you can hear. The art club meets twice a week and is perfect for creative minds. That's probably the answer to the one of the art classes. So what class? That means the art club is there, and the answer is art classes. What type of art classes they will say? You understand? So there you have to match. Coming to the listening part 3, here where you will panic. Why? Because it becomes fast and there is an educational conversation that takes place between 2 speakers, and it could be 2 students or a tutor and a student. Now what is confusing here is that they interrupt each other and you are lost. So you should be knowing that they would be speaking about a research proposal, about a group presentation, or they can also talk about a seminar about artificial intelligence or climate change, anything like that. Now, the question types again are multiple choice and matching. Don't read the choices word by word. Just skip through them and just get a general idea. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Now, suppose the student says, okay, this is a conversation between the student and the tutor. And the student says, I think that I should be doing a project on sustainable farming. And the tutor says, I think that is a bit broad, and you can narrow it down to vertical farming in urban spaces. Is that right? Right, the student says. And then you will have options like urban spaces, vertical farming, and sustainable farming, and you feel that everything is right. But then the student agrees that he would be doing that vertical farming, and that is the right option. So that are the, you'll get all the options. So one tip I want to say is, if you want a 9 band, then practice this part of the test more, because this is the elephant of the test. And also, I want that if there are 2 students, then you should remember their names, because they could ask a question what the A student is saying or what the B student is saying. So be careful about that. Now, coming to the part 4, which is a lecture script. Only one speaker is going to be there, and it is going to be a monologue. It could be on history, on some science subject, on photography, on some brain function, on some agriculture, space exploration, any topic like that. Now, most of the time the questions are fill-ups, whether you're giving it delivered computers or in Canada or in any part of the world, then it is going to be fill-ups, and mostly it is one word or a number. So mostly it is one word, right? But be careful, they could also give 2 words, but not very often. And sometimes the students think, oh ma'am, I thought it was one word, and in the question it was written 2 words. It is generally one word, but sometimes they change. You should be careful about the instructions in part 4. Now, here is, you have to be very careful what goes before the blank and after the blank. So, now what is here you want is signposting language. Suppose there is some year written in, right, 1857. So, you should be careful. Okay, now this 1857 has come. So, your audio and your booklet should go hand in hand. They should be parallel, right? So this is the signposting language. Suppose they are talking about some equipment. The name of the equipment is spade. Okay, they are not going to change that spade. Names, they are not going to change. Years, they are not going to change. So that can be a signposting that now the answer is coming, that I have to be listening it very carefully. Okay, so let me give you an example. Yeah, so in part 4, I want to explain that 1875. So if you are till here, you will say, I have got a 9 band in listening. You can say that. Or I love it. Please, I want those comments so that I come to know that you have at least watched the video till here. Now, coming to the example. In 1875, it is written on your question. So when the speaker says, in 1875, there was a discovery that was a game changer. So you come to know, okay, now it is still here. So you come to know where the answer is going to come. Of course, if you miss an answer, just leave it and then jot down on the paper, and you can then come and retype it. There's a paper that is given to you in computer delivered. So if you are missing an answer, you can write that number and then you can come back. Okay, so then of course, when you are in computer delivered, then keep that caps law, that caps key on, because all the answers will be in capital letters, and it is always better to write in or type in the capital letters, even for your paper, delivered also. So because I think it reduces the error. Sometimes you do not written the R properly, or even when you are typing also, and therefore it can save you time. So one great tip that I want to give you, that after every section they will say, now you have some time to check your answers. In part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, you will not check your answers. There is nothing to check. You will go to the next. See, suppose at the end of part 1 you have answered all the questions, just go to the next part and read the questions, and then they will say, okay, now you have time to read the questions from 11 to 15. In part 2 you will not read only part 2, you can even read part 3. There is no problem if you have finished with that. Is that clear? Yes. And then in part 4 they will say you have some time to check your answers, and you, if in computer delivered, all the questions that are colored have been answered by you, right? Others, those who are not colored, have not been answered. Clear? And if it is, there is anything like that, then you need to fill. Yeah, so they won't be colored if it is not answered. So what I can tell you as in the final tips is that you should practice with real Cambridge tests. Okay, you get those Cambridge books, and you will not do passive listening, and be careful, you will analyze your mistakes. I missed it here. Okay, then you will understand the patterns of the distractions in MCQs. They are going to be distractors. They are going to, do, okay, this, then they will say, oh, I forgot, I would like to have this choice. So that would be there. And if you want a 9 band, focus on part 3. If you want that accuracy, and always follow the audio on the screen or the paper like a shadow. Don't run ahead and don't fall behind. So if you want any guidance from me, it is paid. And if you want materials quality, on my website .com I have a free community that I run on the WhatsApp, on the Telegram. I'm on the Instagram, englishwithanitakuntra.com. You can go and see the results. I can't post all the results. And one request, please share this video. There are so many people who would want genuine guidance, which is missing these days. Thank you, and all.